turn on my passing around. Thank you very much. So what we're hearing is the business case is more about the insights you can gather, and when you come to think about the ability to digest data, and it was pretty easy in the 1980s and 1920s, and in the 1990s and the early 2000s, because there wasn't that much data. Ever since the internet came on board, ever since we had more systems, we created more data, and we have this huge data lake, which, honestly speaking, no one on earth can actually truly understand on its own. We need actually machine to do that. But what I'm hearing from you is the business case is about applying it to your own businesses. That is, leveraging the insight you can get from the data to do faster decision-making process and therefore faster action, and transforming from an oil tanker to a jet ski in terms of maneuvering agility capability. I think that's really important to have in mind. And maybe what we also need to know is, now that we know how to create a vision, how do we know how to scope things, now that we know a bit more about the quotient optimism and launching, and that the true insights and the decision we can make out of this huge amount of data will drive growth, not just reducing costs. And there was totally touched on upon by Faramas, but I'd like maybe Ben Graham to expand on that. Is who do you need to get engaged, and why, to ensure the success of this project within both your organization and your client's organization?
Good thing this isn't a relay race, I think. Yeah. So I'm Ben Graham. I'm one of the co-founders of Retail X. Retail X provides brick and mortar retailers the same caliber and quality of data for their offline businesses as they get online. And to bring that to life a little bit, I like to tell a little story about a really small company that not many people have heard of, called Amazon. And when they first began analysing their shopper behaviour, they realised that 50% of their baskets were getting abandoned at the checkout. So people were going to the bother of choosing what they wanted and bringing it the whole way to the checkout, and then just leaving it right there. They were abandoning that time. So they redeployed all their resources to that particular pain point and came up with the one-click checkout to make it as easy as possible to check out. And to me, that kind of provides us a small bit of insight into the power of insights and the ability to drive action from insights. And so when we think about grocery retail in particular, which is what we're principally interested in, 98% of the sales are still going through stores, and yet it remains the biggest blind spot for retailers. So that's what we concentrate on. In terms of the question around who needs to be involved in order to make these projects work, I'm going to give it a classically frustrating answer and say it really depends. I think on each individual project there's no one good answer, but in my experience, from what I've learned so far, a couple of really interesting things that are developing and themes that are developing are, first of all, one of the key people that needs to be involved, particularly in non-traditional tech verticals, such as retail, are legal teams. So I see this being a big issue and a real hotspot going forward around the legality, particularly when it pertains to data. So who owns what data? Where does the data get stored? And the security around that data. And also, not to be forgotten either, is we're talking about consumers, real people here as well. So the consumer's data has to be really tightly protected. Another thing that I've learned about who needs to be involved is that the more people that can benefit from something and integrate it into a business, so that it's not just a novel sort of toy. I think we talked about the dangers of it being a niche project to take a box rather than built into an